Hey guys, how the hell are you? Time for an all-new unbiased gear review. On this, the new Archetype Rabea from Neural DSP. Let's check it out. Nah, that ain't me. Let's play some death metal. So first of all, let me just apologize to you guys. If you are looking for a lengthy and in-depth review into this thing, and I mean a super deep dive into all the nooks and crannies, every single one of the features, all the knob twisting, what can this thing do, this is not going to be it, because honestly, there is so much going on with this thing, that would be a 2-hour plus video. So what I'm going to limit this to is just kind of a brief overview, trying to blaze through and check out as much stuff as possible, but also kind of really diving into how does this thing work for somebody who just wants to play dumbass chug riffs like myself. Because there's so much going on with this thing that, I mean, in the hands of somebody more inventive and more creative than myself, the synthesizer, all the weird effects are going to prove to be immensely, immensely popular. But for me, I just want to know if I can make this thing do stupid, brutal tones, and maybe a handful of other stuff along the way too, just in case the need arises. So, really quick, taking a look at the screen right here, you're kind of greeted by something that looks very familiar to anyone that's used a Neural DSP product. The amp shows up right away with the default settings, several different screens, but we'll get to that. Input, noise gate, transpose, which is a cool feature in and of itself. Kind of neat there. There's the input mode, stereo mono, there's the doubler, as well as kind of giving you an option to kind of spread it out a little bit right here. Don't know why it's grayed out. I'm going to assume because this is a trial version. We've got the list of presets right here that you can go through, and there is a boatload of presets here. So that's also something too. I have had a lot of fun with the presets. It's one of those things where I would recommend just getting this thing, going through the presets and seeing what someone else has come up with and using that as a jumping off point, because they've already done a lot of lead work for you, and now you can just kind of go in, tweak a few things, come up with something usable really quick before you actually take some time to deep dive in and create something from scratch. So, and that's also something that I'm going to touch on here too. I'm going to touch on a handful of settings that are on here. Obviously, a ton of different artists have given presets. There's the factory presets, and then also Rabea himself has included a shitload of presets. And then there's a few that I've come up with too. Output right here, the amp, there's the MIDI sort of input and the functions right here that you can set up. I know dick diddly about MIDI, so I'm not even going to touch on that. It does come with an onboard tuner, which is kind of nice. With regards to the amp, while we're on this screen, basic controls, gain, bass, middle, treble, master, depth, level. Here's something that's really cool. You can switch between EL34 and 6L6-ish kind of tones for a little bit of variety. I find that to be extremely helpful because, especially on the high gain amp itself, switching from the 6L6 to the EL34 gives you a super awesome JCM 900 style tone, which, as you guys know from watching my channel, I love my JCM 900. So one thing that should be noted too is that there are various speaker cabinets here that can be swapped. Different speaker cabinets are linked up with different amp heads, but if you just click on this little button right there, all of a sudden not linked anymore, and you can switch between the various different heads, the various different cabinets, etc. While we're on this speaker screen, several different microphones, as well as you have the ability to load up your own custom IRs, which is pretty awesome. After that, we do have the post EQ, which instead of looking like a graphic EQ, this one's a parametric EQ, which is kind of a nice change of pace. I honestly don't even remember ever seeing a parametric EQ on a neural product. There may have been one and maybe I just missed it, but this is kind of a nice change of pace. It's very user-friendly and it works rather well, if I do say so. We do also have some post effects here. We've got the delay, we've got the reverb, which are both very, very nice. As you can hear right now, they are both switched on. Before the amp, we also have this little section right here of various pedals that go in front of the amp. We've got a dual compressor, which I found to be a huge benefit when I was doing the lead for the demo track. We've got an octaver, which is hilarious to play with. Super cool. The Colossus fuzz. And then also the Paragon Overdrive. Pretty rad. Now, in addition to that, there's also this synth which is going on up here. Let me turn this on really quick. That's cool how you can sort of blend it with the guitar. So, really cool. There's obviously a lot that you can play around with that. I'm not gonna belabor the point and just spend forever and ever and ever on that synth. Let's go through a handful of presets really quick. So, first of all, because we love the video game stuff, we love the video game noises, in Factory, there's this one called Likely Pocket Monster, which I have had so much goddamn fun with. Really cool video game noises coming from that. Let's see, a few other synthy kind of stuff in Rabea's own list here. We've got Cone Destroyer. That sounds like it's got, yep, it's got the Octaver on as well. That's just rad. That's just so wicked. Let's see, a few other ones here that I think are kind of cool. If I Only Had a Bandmate. That's pretty rad. Let's see, one that I thought was really cool, Sophie Burrell, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's got this preset on here called Rain Clouds, which I thought was really cool because of the fact, to me, it sounds like a little bit like a Hammond. I mean, I just think that that's super rad how that sounds. Of course, Adam Nolly Get Good's got some really cool stuff in here. Easy Clean. Rad tone there. He's also got this one here that's just metal rhythm. The high gain head here with these settings that we've got. This is the 606. And then, like I was mentioning, flip it to EL34. Instant JCM. I love that. That is just such a rad tone right there. Speaking of brutal metal tones, dig this. Adam Christensen has a setting on here called the Gain Saw. Now, we kind of can guess what that's going to be like. He's got the fuzz on here with these settings. He's got the compressor going. He's got the octaver going. Some gnarly settings all around. This amp, this cab, these microphones. And this is what you get from this. Super rad tones there. Like, it sounds a little synthy even though the synth isn't turned on. But kind of like a synthy version of an HM2. I think that is super rad. Just for gits and shiggles, let's turn off the octaver, see what happens. Just such a rad tone. Speaking of rad tones, especially of the metal variety, let me just really quick show you a couple that I came up with that I was using on the demo song that you heard at the beginning. So this one right here is just modified metal rhythm. I basically took Nolly's preset and kind of tweaked a few things here or there. Tweak the overdrive just a little bit to make it more to my liking. Tweak the knobs just a little bit to also make it more to my liking. Brought down that middle to give this a nice sort of scooped mid-range old school metal tone. Speakers, we've got the ribbon over here. We've got the 57 over there. EQ settings, as you see here, they're again tweaking a few things, taking out a little bit of mud, boosting a little bit in the high mid so that it would cut in post just a little bit. The reverb and the delay are fucking off. I didn't need them for this. I thought it sounded absolutely badass without them, and this is kind of what you're left with. There again, just for gits and shiggles, let's flip that to EL34. Back to 606. Let's play around with the speaker cabs just a little. Right there is an old school death metal tone, man. That sounds just so gnarly. But yeah, this thing does exactly what I wanted it to. Yeah, it's got some extras on here that, there again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, in the hands of someone far more creative, far more original, far more inventive than myself, they're gonna take a crack at that and be like, oh my god, this thing is a godsend. It's incredible. It's super easy to work with. It's just mind-blowing how much you can do with this thing. The possibilities are literally kind of endless. But for me, I'm just super content to be playing stupid fucking chug riffs, death metal tremolo picking, speed metal palm mute runs. Just, I love it, and I think this thing does that extremely well, while still giving me the options to do all sorts of crazy shit on here if the need arises. You know, if I need a badass lead tone, I mean, that delay and that reverb just sounds so rich without sounding super digital and processed. It's just kind of nice and natural sounding without being too mushy and muddy kind of natural. It's just kind of balanced. So, I mean, it is what it is. This thing is cool. It's got all the features that I could ever need. I think if you're looking for something that is going to be extremely tweakable and something that you're gonna have a lot of fun with, just messing around, seeing what you can create, I think this is an absolute winner. I really do. So yeah, there it is, and there you go. I think this thing just absolutely kills. But Arnold, what are you drinking today? I am so glad that you asked. Today I am having super awesome Hella Style Lager from Austin Beer Works here in Austin, Texas. For those of you guys that don't know, by the way, I do have a second channel now, youtube.com/ArnoldDrinks, where you can head to get more in-depth reviews of brews such as this one, as well as reviews of various whiskeys that I've been having, because I've kind of rediscovered, oh my god, I love whiskey. But regardless, let's dive into this brew right here so that you guys can sort of see what I'm working with here. Pours a very, very light golden color, good carbonation, slight rockiness to the head there. Has kind of a nice sort of sweet note to it, a little bit floral like a Pilsner or like an IPA, but super muted. It's just barely there, barely there. Very refreshing, has kind of a honey wheat bread like note to it. Really a little bit crisper than I typically get from this style, but overall pretty refreshing. It's only a 4.5% alcohol by volume lager, so it's meant to be something that's session, it's meant to be something that's crushable, and this definitely is. Is it the best beer I've had of this style? No, not by a long shot, but is it good? Abso-freaking-lutely. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, tons more of this metal content to come. And as always, remember, take what you do seriously, but do not take yourselves too seriously.